All
Hi.
right, here we are, Kenny. And you have such an extensive, legendary, mind-blowing bio that I I couldn't even imagine trying to tell people all the things you've achieved as an artist during the last 35 years. One of the things that you have been bringing to the NFT industry is this thought of NFT-ism, the last ism in art. And the description of your talk at our event that's coming up in June is how NFTism has forever transformed the world of art and how the art world is too arrogant to notice. Can you please introduce yourself to our community and talk a bit about NFTism? You're showing me the tattoo on your arm, so you're fully, you're fully convicted about this topic.
Well, thank you for having me. Nice to talk to you. And this will be my second NFT NYC talk. And I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you for reminding me what it was I'm talking about, because I can't keep track of what I did yesterday, today, or what's in store for tomorrow. And that's part of the excitement of art. And I mean, I've been making digital art in one form or another for 30 years. And because I'm completely self-taught, I'll always consider myself an outsider, even though I'm sitting here in the installation of a major New York City art fair called The Independent, where I'll be exhibiting a one-person installation coming up in the next days. But really, I only care about art, my kids, and helping other people try to achieve the things that I've been struggling and hustling to accomplish from the first day I stumbled into the art world. And it was kind of nothing short of that. But really, it's not, I mean, I can't say my participation in this space is anything other than continuing what I started out to do in the beginning, which is make art and communicate to people and try to share these experiences and the information that I've painstakingly gathered. Sorry, it's a little noisy because I'm in installation.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been I've clawed my way to whatever position I'm in. I've had ups and downs. I don't have a very good art market per se, but that's not important, because here's Elizabeth D, who started the Independent Art Fair, and she's the candy woman.
That's just a bucket of joy, just bringing it to everybody.
See, how cool is that? So anyway, the point is that I just love art, and NFTs as a tool have helped to facilitate something that I all but gave up hope of ever achieving in my life, and that was making a living from my art. So I found a way to continue to have a foothold into the system by writing, teaching, and curating. I embedded my own videos into my writing. But again, were it not for NFTs, nobody in my position of being a primarily digital artist, video artist, whatever, there was never been a market for only the most select few video makers. And of course, it also helps photographers and anybody who really wants to dip their toes in. So once I found out about it a couple of years ago, I immediately dove headfirst and made a lot more enemies than I already had made, which is no small amount, but it's been worth it. And I think people are coming around slowly but surely. There's still a lot of resistance. Of course, people have a resistance to change and a fear of the unknown and learning new things. And I've spent 2 years becoming a student all over again, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And again, like, I'm not a multi-million-dollar artist. I'm not, one of these darlings of the marketplace, but I could care less. I don't make art to make money. I've never given much thought to that throughout my entire career, to the dismay of my family. But you have one life, and I make it an effort of doing what I care about. And I care about art, and I care, for me, NFTism is helping people, and this sense of community that I found when I first entered the fine art world in the late 80s, early 90s in New York City, but that quickly evaporated. I mean, people always complain NFTs are only about money, and that's rich coming from the art world, which is entirely, solely focused on financial gain. So there's a lot of hypocrisy in the world, and more so in the art world. And the NFT space is far from perfect. There's a lot of, short-termism and speculation, but everyone should do whatever they want as long as they're not hurting anyone or breaking the law.
Yeah. You've taught art history and economics for over 30 years. And one of the things that you and I were discussing is your draw to be a teacher more and more. So I have a question about teaching other NFT artists that come into the space that have been artists for a while or new digital artists. How do you treat a teaching, mentoring conversation that's one-on-one over a cup of coffee different than you might treat a lecture hall with 50 or hundreds of people in it? When you do teaching, how is it different in this industry if it's one-on-one compared to a crowd?
That's a very interesting thing that I've never thought about, but in a way, there's no difference at all, because again, it's just about communication and the desire to share information, and I love to facilitate opportunities for other people. So generally, I mean, I taught a class this semester at New York University on NFTs and NFTism and the whole advent of the movement and what's transpired over the last 2 to 4 years. And I mean, I guess a lot of the mentoring and the one-on-one sessions have to do with people overcoming the hesitation or the hurdles to just dip in and get involved, or some very basic remedial issues about how they can participate. Because look, I've been studying for 2 years, and I know I still have a lifetime's worth to learn, and that's what art is all about: learning, curiosity, and expression and sharing. And in that sense, it's all the same. So again, like, the lecturing could be absolutely indistinguishable from a one-on-one session. It all depends on, whether I'm thesis advising. I mean, in the last year alone, I've advised almost a dozen master's students that are beginning. It's great to see the kind of grassroots, organic way that crypto and NFTs are spreading throughout the world. And like, I have this PFP project, Crypto Mutts, and then I said I would give away a bunch of t-shirts, and I got 300 addresses from various holders of my NFTs. And there were countries I never heard of. So the breadth of this phenomenon is far-reaching and extraordinary. And I'm just happy to be a part of it in any capacity that I can. I'm not chasing money. I get a lot of pushback sometimes if my NFTs don't go up as quickly and swiftly as some buyers would like them to, but that's not my job. That's not my role. My role is to push myself as an artist and as a human being and as a teacher, and to help onboard people. And again, like, it gives me great joy and satisfaction to be to assist people in all ways that I can. And whether I did an NFT project to help the Ukraine situation, which is a barbaric tragedy that affects every corner of the globe. And I mean, the capacity to just help someone from 1 minute to the next never existed before NFTs. So I'm very aware of the negative aspects of this space, but I focus more on how to help people and help myself in ways that I never thought would ever be possible.
Well, let me ask this last question before you wrap up. And it's on the diversity in the art industry.
I'm just getting warmed up.
I know. Well, you and I could definitely talk for a long time. So we'll have some time together.
Please stay in touch. I encourage anyone who hears me to I will answer every DM, every email, every Twitter.
What's the best platform for people to reach out to you on Twitter?
Instagram and Twitter. I mean, Twitter is digital space, and Instagram is more the traditional art world space, but yep. I'm pretty ubiquitous and easy to find. And I could promise you within 24 hours, I've responded to every query that I've ever received in my life. Well, and if you say hello, if you have all I request is some basic manners, and then you have me.
So here's the question I wanted to wrap with, and some diversity. So how do you see the lack of diversity in the physical art world compared to the emerging diversity of artists and art projects in the NFT world?
Another really cool, interesting question. I mean, the art world has been among the most racist places on the planet. It's been largely populated with rich white people that are mainly the collectors. But over the past 10 years, there's been a tidal shift in let's call it the fine art world, traditional art world, whatever you want to call it. But there's been a dramatic increase in accessibility for artists of color, artists of different sexual identification, and artists from across the universe having access to the extent that I've never seen before in my life. So there's been more growth in that respect in the last 10 years than the previous 500 years. I think the NFT space has a bit of a way to go to catch up in that regard. Because again, it's not easy to dip into NFTs. You need to have a wallet. You need funds. You can't just, you could make a drawing with a pencil and a piece of paper. And right now, unfortunately, there are various cryptos like Tezos and Polygon and Polkadot and Solana and various other, less excessive, environmentally consuming cryptos to work in with much lower gas fees. But again, it's funny because crypto was created to decentralize the finance world and currencies and reduce the role of the undue influence of banks and reduce fees. And at the same time, gas is way ridiculously too expensive at this point. So that's a barrier to entry.
Right.
And also it's funny enough, you're meant to break away from these unduly influential institutions. And yet when you copy your seed phrase, you're supposed to stick into a safety deposit box after you write it down with a pen and paper and stick in the bank, which is so antiquated. So there's a lot of contradictions in the world. But again, I've worked with NFT artists from every continent, from Asia, from South America, from Africa, from all over the world. And that will grow over the course of time through education and through reducing some of these hindrances to people getting more involved across the board. And I think, art and life should be democratic and non-hierarchical and not exclusionary, which is some of the worst attributes of the fine art world. So I think, look, the NFT space is in its infancy. It's in its embryonic stage of development, and the metaverse is also just getting started. It still takes me an hour and a half to walk up a flight of stairs in any given metaverse. So the interface and the navigation has to be made easier, but these things will come. And I just think people like me who are curators and the gatekeepers, there's always going to be gatekeepers in any realm. So there are the Nifty Gateway and Known Origin and Super Rare and Foundation and Maker's Place. You all have to be accepted onto those platforms. But then again, there's Manifold, studio.manifold.xyz. And I have no interest in this company, but they'll mint you you can mint a smart contract for free other than the gas fee. So I just think that people have to be cognizant of these issues and just try to help people from all corners of the world. And we all have to just do a little bit just to be more gracious and more considerate for other artists and other people that are going through, it's not easy. And every day of my life is as difficult today as it was 30 years ago. But the opportunities are increasing due to the fact that I'm so damn old. But because I'm dedicated and I will never stop and nobody will stop me. And I think that makes up for my lack of intelligence and connections, and went to all the wrong schools for all the wrong reasons. And nothing could ever equate to perseverance and stick-to-itiveness. And that's really rings true for everything.
That's good. Well, we're going to let that be the last word for today. I find you to be very fascinating.
You're a kind man.
I certainly look forward to hearing you speak at NFT.NYC. We're really grateful that you're a part of it and that you're bringing all of your wisdom and your experience to this industry. We want to learn from you and hear what you have to say. And I think your voice matters. So, Kenny, thank you so much for being a part.
Thank you. I give hope to all the assholes in the world that they too can make some small steps and achievements in their